the Hebrew Israelites, we come out week in and week out to prophesy the death, downfall, and destruction of America. But first and foremost, we want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh. To the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth according to the Bible through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. A sincere peace and salutation to all you hopeful elect Akim out there pushing this word of truth and sincerity, doing the work as Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has commanded you to do, so he can wake up and see the elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and confused-faced Israelites who are scattered amongst the heathen nations, who may look like the heathen nations, but your father's seed line goes back to being a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American. Shalom. So man, we're gonna go into today, man. I came across this article. I made a listen on it this morning, and I'm gonna bring the same thing out here, man. This is from Reuters, a terrible passage, and what it's going into, man, is the slave ships. If you can see it on screen, you can. The slave ships, man. So we're gonna read this article, then we're gonna filter it through the scriptures as we're commanded to do by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You see? So this is for Reuters, a terrible passage from Africa. In 1619, more than 100 years since European vessels first shipped enslaved Israelites to the Americas, the first recorded Israelite slaves arrived in North America to work plantations in English colonies. You see? I'm not gonna call us Africans because that's not who we are, man. So every time they have the word African, I'm gonna replace it with Israelites because that's who we are. You see? Alright? So matter of fact, let me start it over. In 1619, more than 100 years since Edomite vessels first shipped enslaved Israelites to the Americas, the first recorded Israelite slaves arrived in North America to work plantations in Edomite colonies. You see? They're saying European, but I'm replacing it with Edomites, because that's who they are. They are the Edomites according to the Bible. Their journey began aboard the São João Batista, a Portuguese-flagged ship that left Angola with 395 Israelites and arrived in Veracruz, Mexico, with 316 captives. Two Edomite ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer, attacked the São João Batista in the Gulf of Mexico. The White Lion arrived in Virginia with about 20 captives. The enslaved Israelites were scattered throughout the James River Valley, an origin story that predates the Pilgrims' 1620 arrival at Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts. From 1514 to 1866, more than 12.5 million Israelite captives were forced onto about 40,000 Edomite ships, the transatlantic slave trade database estimates. So about 12.5 million Israelites stolen from the west coast of Africa were brought here to serve free slave labor up under the Edomites, you see? And this is a quote from Rebecca Nelson. It reads, enslaved people were not treated as people, but they were treated very much as cargo packed into the bottom of the ship. Conditions for slaves were horrendous. They endured months at sea with physical and mental abuse. Men were chained in cramped spaces with leg irons, and on average 304 people embarked on each voyage with 265 disembarking. So that means you had 304 people get on the ship, only 265 got off. Why is that? Because they were dying under the cruel conditions of the slave ships, man. You see? So in 1791, print of the Brooks slave ship diagram, going into this. This is the diagram of the slave ships, man. You see? That's the diagram of the slave ships. All those are Israelites. Israelites packed and crammed on the slave ships. So going on. This 1791 print of the Brooks slave ship diagram forms part of the collection in the Wilberforce House Museum in Hull, England. So this is a diagram in a museum in England. And it is one of the most recognizable images from the campaign to abolish the transatlantic slave trade in Britain. The publication of the image provided the public with a clear visual representation of conditions on board slave ships for the first time. This section of the diagram shows women on board the Brooks crammed head to foot. You see? Right here again. These are the women, crammed from head to foot, man. You see? Stacked on top of each other like sardines, man.
Shows you Esau's lack of mercy, man.
Yup.
So this is exactly why Esau's going to be judged without mercy, man. This is what he did.
And they was like this for months on end, man. You see? On many slave ships, women and children had limited freedom to move. Men were chained in leg irons. Remember the undocumented. On the vessels, captives were treated as commodities and shipped from port to port. The names of most of the estimated 12.5 million enslaved Israelites were never recorded. For most voyages, all that is known are the details of the voyages and the names of the vessels and the captain. And this is about each named and documented vessel in a transatlantic slave trade database. Database contains an estimated 80% of vessels disembarking captives. Now, this right here, all this right here, these are the names. These are the names of the slave ships. These are all the names of different slave ships, man. Over 40,000 cargo slave ships. 40,000, over 40,000. And this is only 80%. So it's over 40,000. You see? Going and going and going and going. These are all slave ships, man. These are all the ships that we were brought over here on, man, to serve free slave labor. And it goes on and on and on and on and on, man. You see? These are the ships, man. These are the ships, man. You see? These are all the ships that the so-called Negroes were bought over here on, man. Going. And that's the end of the list, man. Over 40,000 slave ships. So now, let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Go walk. Real quick.
This is Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. You see? It's not talking about actual Egypt, man, because we walked out of Egypt the first time. The Most High telling us we're going to be brought back to a place known as Egypt, man. You go find that out in Revelation 11 and 8. This place, America, is known as spiritual Egypt, man. Look at the back of the dollar bill. Why is it a pyramid on the back of the dollar bill? Why is it a pyramid on the back of the dollar bill? The Washington Monument is an Egyptian obelisk, man. We have a replica of the pyramid over there in Las Vegas, man, the Luxor Hotel. This place is known as spiritual Egypt, man. And this is the place where we bought over here on slave ships, man. Go ahead, bro.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So the Most High said he's going to send us into Egypt again with ships. We just got the history on that. We just got the documentation of all the ships that we came over here on, man. 40,000 slave ships.
Yeah, so who else would it be talking about, man?
Con. Who else was shipped over, shipped to another country on slave ships, man? It wasn't you damn Edomites, you so-called white people. It was the Israelites, man, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. You see? 40,000, man. We fit the curses, man. Deuteronomy 28 and 68 fits us because we are the Israelites, man. You see? We shall be sold for what? Bondmen and bondwomen unto our enemies. Where did that happen at? Happened right here in America, man. Auction blocks, man. Slave auction. You see? In fact, I can get some on that too. Right here. Slaves for sale. You shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Who did that happen to, man? The Israelites. You see? Yeah, precept, bro.
This is Amos chapter 1.
back get Joel. Get Joel.
This is Joel, chapter 3 and verse 6. The children.
Start at 3. Start at 3.
Going up to verse 3, it says, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot.
Giving a boy for a harlot. When you go into that word harlot, it's prostitute, man. You see? That's what the so-called white man was doing with our kids on these slave ships, man. It was selling them into prostitution, man, so they can rape the little boys. You see? Because Esau, the so-called white man, is a natural born faggot, man. You see? Why do you think you think these pedophile rings just started, man? They been doing this shit. You see? Now they do it behind the mask of the Roman Catholic Church. You see? And nobody bats an eye at it, man. This has been going on, man.
Look at the Grecians, man. Look at Alexander the Greek.
Yeah.
Right, Alexander the Greek. He was known for having little boys as his sex partners, man. All right, and then you have all the Olympics. A lot of that stuff goes back to Greece too, in which they had homosexual acts, man, like wrestling. Wrestling derived from two naked-ass, grown-ass men wrestling.
And then you go watch the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom's Cabin. They was painting the little boys up in gold and silver to put them in the male prostitution, man.
Nope.
That was what they was doing to us, man. They was doing that to our kids, man. You see? Go ahead, bro.
Going on, it says, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink.
Because we was a currency, man. All we was unto them was a cargo, was a currency, man. So they traded our little boys to make them harlots, and they traded the women for fucking rum or whatever else they needed, man. You see? Before the damn dollar, it was the Israelite, man. You see? At one time we was the world reserve currency, man. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 4. Yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine?
Talking about the so-called Africans, man, the Hamites.
Will ye render me a recompense? Or if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head?
Yep, go ahead.
Now, why is he talking about the Hamites, the so-called Africans? Why is he telling them if they're going to repay the Most High for the oppression of their children, for their children being sold into slavery?
Because they sold us into slavery, man. They had a hand in capturing us and selling us unto the Edomites, man. They sold us into the so-called white man.
So you see, that shows you that there's a difference between you Hamites
and the Israelites, man.
Yep, and the Israelites.
Scriptures say that, man. This is Exodus 11 and 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord hath put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So even though we are dark-skinned people, just like the so-called the Africans, that don't mean we're the same people, man. We're two different nations of people, right? You see?
And that shows you too, man. I mean, you can just see it. If you see a Hamite walking around versus Israelite, it's easy to tell the difference, man. Hamites don't even look regular in clothes, man. And Jake just naturally looks like a prince, man. And you see these heathens, they don't got that natural look to them. But anyway, going on verse 5. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold and carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things.
Talking about the Israelites, man, because Deuteronomy 14:2 tells you that we are a peculiar treasure unto the Lord, man. You see? His gold and his silver are the Israelites, man, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The same people you brought over here on slave ships, man. You see? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 6, the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
Now, who claims to be the Grecians, man? You Edomites love to say that civilization started with the Greeks. Modern civilization started with the Greeks. You see? The scriptures are letting you know who the Greeks are, man. It's letting you know who the Hamites sold us unto, man. Did not the Hamites sell us, help capture us on the west coast of Africa and sell us unto you damn Edomites to put us on what? Slave ships, man. According to Deuteronomy 28:68. You see? This history, and you put it all in your history, man, of how the first thing they teach you in school about black history is slavery, man. You see? This is what they teach you, man. That your history begins with slavery. And that's a goddamn lie. You see? But it's well documented what you Edomites and the rest of you nations have done unto our people, man. You see? So ain't no getting around it. So the Hamites sold us into the Edomites, which are the Grecians. Go ahead, bro.
That ye might remove them far from their border.
That's exactly what happened, because are we in the land of Israel today? No, we're not. You see? We haven't been back in the land of Israel since 70 AD, man. And you moved us even farther from our border by way of slave ships, man. This is how we end up in America. You see, this was the work and this was the doing of the so-called white man. Through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Go ahead, bro.
So we keep going. Like this in judgment coming on Esau for it.
Nah.
Let me grab another one.
Amos.
Con.
Just to prove that point home, because it says it, but it says it in two different ways. Go ahead, bro.
This is Amos chapter 1 and verse 9. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
You damn Hamites.
Because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom.
Who's the captivity, man? The Israelites. The so-called Negroes. You delivered them up to Edom. That lets us know who the damn Edomites are, man. You see? We were giving up to your hand and going to slavery up under you, man.
And once again, who the Hamites are, man.
Yep.
What other people did the Hamites take and sell to the so-called white man?
No.
Who was it, man? Because obviously these prophecies got to be fitting somebody. These Israelites, these characteristics and these prophecies and these curses got to fit who the Israelites are today, man.
Yep.
Going on, it says, and they remembered not the brotherly covenant.
Yep. And it's well documented, man. Because I even got an article that tells you that they're commemorating. Yeah, 144. That they're commemorating what? The 400 years of slavery, man. Ghana. Why is Ghana? Ghana's parliament welcomes U.S. House Representative Speaker to West Africa from where millions of, they say Africans, but we know that the Israelites were sold into slavery, into life of slavery in the Americas. Now, who perpetrated the slave trade, man? Who was spearheading that shit? Esau, Edom, you so-called white people. This is how we know that you're the Edomites, man. You see? All signs point back to you Edomites. I mean, you so-called white people being Edomites, man. And it's well documented. You put this shit in your history because you're proud of that, man. You see, but little do you know, it's to your destruction, man. You got to